Yeah.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Sound Off. We have with us Mr. Jimmy Brown from Deliverance, Mr. Manny Morales from Deliverance, Allan Aguirre, author, TV dude, rock star.
A lot more. What are you talking about? He's a lot more than just author and cool dude.
Well, lead singer.
You want me to do the introductions of Rommel, because I'm like his big fanboy over here.
Go for it. Do it.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
And we got our panel tonight: Robbie Davidson, Josh Laurie, Johnny Rocket,
What?
Elijah Rose, whatever.
Doug.
I can't remember.
That's enough.
Doug.
Andre Price.
Doug.
Go ahead.
Jimmy just said Rommel. Doesn't he get like a demerit for that?
Well,
Get the star.
that name was a trivia question in one of our trivia shows, so no one knew who that was. So it was awesome.
That's a good thing.
And then our special guest host, crew member, Thomas Dunn from Through the Black. Chris is in the background
Hi,
somewhere.
Thomas Dunn.
Hey, Jimmy.
So, hey, Chris, why don't we kick it off with the interview that I did earlier today with Pastor Bob?
Okay.
All right, this is a special interview with Pastor Bob Beeman for Sound Off tonight for our special show, where we're reflecting back on two of my heroes growing up.
And mine, yes.
Michael Bloodgood and Ted Kirkpatrick.
Yes.
Sadly, both of them have been taken away from us too short, and it was out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But before we get into that, I wanted to show Pastor Bob this. You sent this to me in like 1989.
Look at that.
90.
And I haven't changed a bit, Doug.
No, you haven't. your hair's a little bit lighter.
A little bit lighter, not as quite as curly, and yeah.
But you revolutionized my life, and my parents were like, well, that guy kind of looks strange, but
yeah,
they listened to your Bible studies and listened to and read all your letters and the Intense Records stuff, and so
that's great. Good.
They listened to you as an authority, so that was awesome.
That's awesome.
So why I asked you to do this is because you are, I guess, the heavy metal pastor, the authority on old school Christian metal and new school Christian metal, and you knew personally both Michael Bloodgood and Ted Kirkpatrick.
Yes.
Can you share a special story about both of them?
Well, gosh, I can think of so many stories. I remember in 1987, we did the first Christian metal festival, actually. It was called Metal Mardi Gras. And Bloodgood came to do the festival. And they came in a fairly small, old motorhome. And I said, wow, you guys, this is a long trip, because I knew that they'd come from up the coast. They said, no, we've been touring the whole United States, and it could barely move. It was on its last legs. And I just thought, how cool is that these guys have this kind of dedication. And of course, that is true of Bloodgood, and it's been true of Michael. Michael, went on to be a pastor as well as being in Bloodgood, and his church actually supported our homeless ministry every month. Even, I mean, he always had a burden for people on the streets and all of that. Just such a great guy. Yes.
Gotcha. What about Ted?
Ted, gosh, there's so many things. I think the one thing that I remember about Ted the most was probably the time with Skizik's Dilemma. I played keyboards on the song, and I play keyboards, and honestly, I play keyboards very well. I just don't play heavy metal keyboards. And so he said, so I want you to do this calliope sound that's kind of off key and just disharmony and has this kind of a weird feel to it, and kind of a circus gone wrong,
Right.
And so he said, let me teach it to you. And he grabbed a guitar and played it on the guitar. And I sat down with the keyboard, and we took so much time trying to pick it out. And I just remember trying to play it, and it didn't come easy for me because it was so different than anything I'd ever done. And I just remember him smiling and giggling as I'm struggling through. And I had that kind of relationship with Ted. We were really good friends, and it was fun. Yeah.
He seemed like a great guy, and
Yeah.
I mean, I met Michael Bloodgood many times, but the first time I met him was on the Out of the Darkness tour, and I was like 12 or 13. I can't remember. I was a young lad, but I met Ted once when he did a benefit. The Tourniquet came out and did a benefit for a kid that was a big fan out here in Cleveland, Ohio, and he had passed away. And they did a benefit show for him, and it was awesome. But one of the other things that I wanted to hit you with, and I talked to you about this, is I was actually talking to Jimmy Brown this afternoon, and we were talking about mortality and how we're now being faced with, we lost Chris Hyde, we've lost other band members.
Yeah, quite a few. Yeah.
But this was two heavy hitters within a month of each other. And I think a lot of people are starting to think about it, maybe coming back to Christ, maybe thinking about their own mortality and where they stand.
Well, that especially, I think, Doug, is thinking about our own mortality, because, the more people pass on, and, I've been working with Christian rock music for 50 years, which means that a whole lot of my friends, Larry Norman and others, Keith Green, those are some heavy hitters. Those guys passed on a lot of years ago.
Right.
And they were great friends. I think this has always kind of been the case. I had Larry Norman, by the way, speak at Sanctuary with me one day. And he and I sat up in front of the church full of 1,000 metalheads. There were about 1,000 people there that day. And he and I sat and talked about the old days and the roots of heavy metal, really, or rock and roll, and the stuff that he did. And, I think as we get older and older in this movement, and this movement is 50 years old, we're going to see more and more of it. And, Michael Bloodgood and Ted and others now are some of those that we've lost along the way.
Right. So if you could give just your Pastor Bob, we all come to you for encouragement. Look at that smile. I love that smile. That's what I remember.
Thank you.
But do you have any encouraging words for anybody that's out there listening?
Well, I guess at 70, and I'll be 70 in just a couple of months, um, I've had an opportunity to think about my own mortality quite a bit. Um, it's been a couple of years of some health difficulties, and you think about that, and it is so good to be able to say, Doug, like the hymn does, "It is well with my soul." I really am ready when that time comes to be with Jesus, not because I have hope of what eternity is, but because I know him now. And I think that's the whole key. I think it causes us to look at our relationships right now, a relationship with each other, but our relationships with God, and to make them as strong as we can, because this is the relationship that continues into eternity.
Right.
And it's the one that really counts. And so I encourage everybody and to really think about that, to really begin to think about, you know, it happened so quickly, Doug. It feels like I was 21 yesterday.
Me too.
Yeah, and I look in the mirror and I think, who is this old guy? I don't get this, but all of us end up here. The beauty of it is this is nothing compared to eternity, but it's all part of preparing to pass on, and that's the exciting part for us.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, I just wanted to remind people that if they don't know that Pastor Bob's going to be Masters of Ceremony at the Immortal Festival coming up on Labor Day weekend in Versailles, Ohio. I think I said that right, at the BMI
Chris and
Center.
Chris Jericho too.
Oh, yeah.
He's the other host, and we're looking forward to it. Yes.
Hopefully I'll be out there at least one of the
Yeah.
days. But
Great.
I just want to thank you, and I
Oh, my
appreciate you.
pleasure.
And hopefully we can do a long form interview because I got a lot of questions.
I would love that. Let's do it.
All right. Thank you, Pastor Bob.
All right, my friend.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Very good.
So, Chris, can we do the video real quick? The tribute to Ted and Michael? So I wanted to put this show together kind of to reflect on not only what I consider some of my heroes, but I know Jimmy, you have some history with both guys. Why don't we start off with you? Where you, what do you remember?
Oh, I mean, my fondest memory of meeting Michael was in '84 out here in well, I'm not in Cali anymore, but out in SoCal, as you would remember, Alan and Manny, we used to have remember Knott's Berry Farm and Disneyland would have those Jubilee nights,
Yeah.
and we went to a Jubilee, me and my girlfriend then, now my wife Helen, and I mean, I was a 14-year-old kid, and they were playing. They're supporting their demo. They weren't even signed yet, and I met Michael after the show, just walking around, and he sat and he spoke with me and Helen for, I mean, 45 minutes or so. I mean, it was just so really. He was just a very loving, wonderful guy, and then we had great conversations many times after that. In fact, he warned me not to sign with Frontline Records. that was one of my favorite conversations with him, and that was around like 1988 or so. But nonetheless, we became label mates anyway. Michael was just one of those true blue guys. That's the one thing I really liked and about him. I admired very much about him. I wasn't like an avid listener of Bloodgood or anything like that. I'm not going to sit here and lie about that, but I did like a few of their stuff, and Les's theatrical performance on stage was always amazing. But Michael was just a great writer, but more than anything, just a great human being, and I always loved that about him. So those are the thoughts that come to me about Michael. As far as Ted, I met Ted when I was producing the first Martyr demo, and he and Tourniquet were just starting. It was Guy Ritter's studio that we were recording in, and they had another name. They weren't called Tourniquet. They were called something else. But that was when I first met Ted, and he showed me a picture of his drum set, and I thought, wow, this is kind of weird. A guy carries around a picture of his drum set, but it was quite impressive, because this was what, 1988, 89, around then. So, and he said, oh, we're pitching to Frontline, and I said, oh, okay, well, good luck, and that was it, because our album had just come out. So, Ted and I would see each other quite a bit at the label, and of course, everybody knows. And if you guys don't, most of my fan base know the famous story that Ted would call me every year on the phone whenever I had a record come out, and it was always about a month right after the album released, and then he would give me a critique and a grade for each album, and it's funny, he would go down the list. I'll give you an A for creativity, I'll give you a C for performance, I'll give you a B for, and I remember after my fifth record, I said, Ted, I have a lot of respect for you, but stop calling me with these grading things, because I don't even read my reviews. So but like I said, every time I saw Ted, always had healthy amount of respect for him. And the one thing I do appreciate a lot about him, there's two things I can say that I really, really appreciate about Ted. And is that he always applauded the change that I wanted to do, that I always wanted to move forward in changing my sound and changing direction every record to record. And he always applauded that and supported it. And I always supported that with him too, and I knew he was a virtuoso on the drums. He was also, a lot of people don't know, he was a really great guitar player and a great bass player. And he would play a lot of that stuff on the albums, himself. So he was just a great instrumentalist, there's no question. And, his vision, he pushed through, his vision. And I got to give it to him. But yeah, Ted always had a healthy amount of respect for one another,
Gotcha. So, Allan, what is your Tourniquet story?
Because I never knew Michael, because I don't listen to that kind of music. I don't like that kind of music. I actually don't like it a lot. So I never listened to
No kidding.
What's that?
No kidding.
See, and Jimmy knows that. Jimmy knows that I've never owned or listened to a Deliverance record. But we have a mutual respect for each other because we both love all things David Bowie and Terry Taylor. So we have a connection there. But, I don't listen to, I'm not the demographic. Never have been. And so I didn't listen to Tourniquet. I didn't listen to Bloodgood. I never met Michael, but I did know Ted. I did know the guys in Tourniquet. I'm not sure why. Oh, I think some of the players were fans of my work. So I would see them at festivals, backstage at shows and stuff like that. But I do have a Tourniquet story. We both played a show together. We played a couple shows together, but we played a specific show together in San Diego. I'm going to say it was 90 or 91, maybe 91. And, it's the Soma Club in San Diego. And, that's like, 3.5 hour drive for me. And now, if we played a lot with the Crucified. Now, the Crucified were pretty heavy from the very beginning to the very end of their set. Whereas Scattered Few, even though we're a punk rock band or a heavy band, whatever you want to call it, we did reggae, we did funk, we did some arty stuff. So for the flow of a show, it didn't make sense for us to play after the Crucified. For the flow of the show, it always made sense for us to go before the Crucified. Didn't matter. We co-headlined, and that's the way we did it. So we're playing with Tourniquet, so it only made sense, and for the same exact reason, that we should go before Tourniquet. And like I said, it's a Soma Club at San Diego. And there's probably a couple openers, something like that. And some of the guys from the band, they came up and said, hey, it's obviously this is a Scattered Few crowd. Everyone's here to see you guys. If you guys play before us, and then they're all going to leave, and I'm like, well, I'm thinking I got a 3.5 hour drive home. I've got 3 kids. I've got a wife. If I can get home an hour and a half earlier, then yeah. So I'm like, yeah, sorry, I can't do that. And so we played our show, and everybody left. I know that's a real chump thing to say, but it's true. And they knew it. And that's the last time I saw Ted or the guys in Tourniquet. Because again, I'm not the demographic.
So, I hate to say this and to throw in on that, Allan, but I was at that show, and I was one of the people that left. So,
oh my gosh, that's even worse than me.
Well, no, I mean, I was there to see. Like I said, I'm a huge fan. I was a huge fan, so still am. And so I anytime you guys played, whether it was in LA or in San Diego, if I was going to be around, and I knew Len, who operated the Soma, so I never had to pay for shows, to go in at all, because we played there all the time.
Yeah.
And
it was a cool club.
Yeah,
and
it was great.
And that
was great at the time.
And that was pre-POD.
Oh yeah, way pre-POD.
Way pre-POD, yeah.
So
but that's the
your
only
Tourniquet story.
Yeah, it's the only thing that can contribute to this portion of the show.
So Manny,
and I don't like Striper.
Come on, Allan.
Always being truthful.
He's gonna start wars on the show tonight.
Did he just get muted?
He's muted.
Somebody muted me. Do you want to hear my Striper story?
Oh, go ahead. Hurry up.
It's a good one.
Okay. Yeah.
Is that a yes?
Sure. Go
Yes,
ahead.
please. I
Go ahead.
love this story.
Yes.
I love this
So-
story.
This is like 12 years ago. I'm on tour. No, this is 2000 and this is like 20 years ago. I'm on tour. I'm doing a big. I'm on a tour with like 5 or 6 bands, and yeah, it was 2003. So a bunch of bands, 6, 7 bands, and we just did a show, and we're all breaking down our tables, our merch booths, and all that. And someone turned on some music, and it was like, wow, it was really bad. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is really bad. And I just, everyone's loving it. They're like, they start making fun of me. Yeah, right. Whatever, Alan. And then, like the second or third song, I couldn't take it anymore. It was so bad. It was hurting me. It was so bad. Second or third song, I'm like, what are you listening to? And they're like, don't fake, don't joke around. You know who it is. You have the album. I'm like, it's a very difficult thing for people to understand that I've never been a long hair. I've never listened to heavy metal. I went from like being an elementary school kid to Bowie, like that. So
Yep.
It's like, I'm just not that guy. Never have been. And so they're making fun of me. I'm like, no, they're convinced that I know who it is and that I have the album. And I'm like, I don't even know what this is. Here's what I do know. This has got to be the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. By now we're on song 5. It's like every horrifically bad cliche in heavy metal is being played. It's like I'm listening to Spinal Tap. I'm literally
I was about
listening
to say Sprinkler Head, right?
Well, no, I'd rather listen to Sprinkler Head. But I'm listening to a really bad mockumentary of heavy metal. Every move, every cliche. It was horrible. And they're like, they're not convinced. And I'm starting to make people mad. And I'm like, I don't know who this is. Who is this? And they're like, it's Striper. I'm like, oh my God. What's all this fuss all these years about this? And this is like, it was like the worst thing I've ever heard of in my life. It was excruciating. I thought it was like a Spinal Tap.
Oh my gosh, you're hurting my soul.
And you know what? I've gone back in the last 20 years. I've gone back, and it's just as bad as it was 20 years ago. It's so painfully bad. Anyway, that's my Striper story.
I love how unapologetic you are about it.
Well, you know what was awesome is that nobody believed me that I didn't know who it was, or that I had never heard it, or that I never owned the album. Who would buy that?
Well, Manny.
Yes.
Do you buy?
I can't do it. I can't do anything after that one. That's
Sprinkler Head. Sprinkler Head.
Sprinkler Head. I don't think anybody here knows what Sprinkler Head is.
I don't.
Joshua does.
Oh, you do, Joshua? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Jimmy, do you know Joshua?
No.
Joshua knows everything.
Oh,
Joshua's
awesome,
been around
Joshua.
like a really, really, really long time.
My
Super.
old band in the Bay Area opened for Deliverance like 3 times.
Oh, no kidding. That's awesome, man. What
That's
band?
worse than me, Jimmy.
We
you don't
were
even remember
awful.
the guy.
We were called
What band?
October. We were really bad.
Which one?
We kind of sounded like
What
LSU
year?
or something. So, but
Oh, that's
Well, you're-
awesome. I loved LSU.
I play with Mike now. So
Oh, even better. No, that's awesome, bro. So you do know Sprinkler Head. My
Oh,
favorite part is the
very
end.
well.
That with that.
Dude, Terry's a genius, man.
Oh,
Oh,
he
look,
is.
there's a comment.
Yes, he
11
is.
million. Here's a comment. 11 million people bought it. Woo.
Oh, okay. That means everything. That's true.
Now, Joshua knows about Sprinkler Head.
That's
Nice.
a beautiful thing. What are you drinking?
Okay.
What are you drinking
We're
there,
getting back
Alan?
to
'Cause
Manny.
it looks absolutely
Yeah.
wonderful.
Iced tea.
I'm here.
Let's get back to
Huh?
Manny.
I'm over here.
Hey, yeah,
somewhere.
Manny, go ahead and talk. Go ahead and talk.
No, you're fine, bro. I mean, you guys are filling it up just fine. Whatever. No, I talk to Jimmy all the time, and I was kind of concerned. I was like, wait a minute. Well, Bloodgood is a great band, but I never really got into that style. And also with Tourniquet, I was trying to ask Jim. I called him and said, "Wait a minute, what? I know we played some shows with them, and I just don't recall because in and out. Just I was so busy just tearing down, doing what I got to do, and backstage talking to people, and and Jim's like, "Yeah, don't you remember speaking to these guys?" So I'm like, "No." So I don't really recall, but anyway, so it's really hard to say, okay, what do you have as far as a memory of what's going on? I really have just one memory, but Jim can tell you on that one because it's pretty funny. But anyway, so I really don't have too much to say. I just I respect them. They're great. They're great people, great musicians. They did a lot for the industry and for Christ. So I mean, it's great to honor them.
Definitely. So
Well, that makes me look that makes me look really bad. Honor them because they're nice guys and they're Christians.
It
wasn't meant to be that way.
Every time you said, "Wait a minute," all that went through my head was, "Well, wait a minute. We're sure a great big fat person."
Manny's gunning for me, man. Did you see that? Manny's gunning for me.
No way, brother.
What did he say?
You're good.
No, Manny loves your responses. Trust me. We'll have a conversation right after, and he'll be like, "Oh, dude, that's so awesome that he said everything. As long as he didn't say anything against Black Sabbath."
Well, everybody knows that that's my playing style. So
well, that's what's hilarious, Doug. Is we played a show and Ted and Manny had this long Black Sabbath conversation, and it's hilarious that Manny just doesn't have any absolute recollection of it at all. So
yeah,
what's funny is that the last Tourniquet record was basically like a complete Black Sabbath album. It was dark, it was dingy, it was it's weird. It's definitely weird. It's like Ted trying to do Black Sabbath meets Clutch, and it's just a very interesting style, but well,
he's a progressive drummer and all his changes and stuff. So yeah. Kind of.
Oh, there's a great.
That's a conversation I did not remember until Jim.
We have a great comment. There's a great comment in the comments. Why would they invite Allan if he hates heavy metal? And I'm like, right? Oh man.
Well, I have to be honest with you. That was the first thing that went through my head when Doug said Allan's going to be on. I'm like, oh well, that's wonderful, but he hates metal.
It's more of a roast than a tribute. Yeah. All right, I'll be quiet now. You guys have fun with your little heavy metal thing going.
Oh, come back already. Although that's a great shot.
There he is.
That's a great shot of you. I love that shot.
So we got some guys on our panel that have some questions. Who wants to go first?
Oh, there's other people here?
Yeah. Josh, what do you got for us?
Josh, what do you got?
Are you just sitting here?
I was just walking by and saw a bunch of people. Thought I'd come back. Jimmy, that's Chris.
I came to keep Allan in line. Hey, Jimmy, how you doing?
See that skinhead right there?
How you doing, buddy? Nice.
What were you drinking?
I was about to say, man, all these skinheads over here. I was like, am I supposed to give a Sieg Heil? Pepsi.
This is all male pattern baldness, man.
American History X, baby.
It's okay. I got it. It's bad. It's bad here. It's bad here. Trust me.
Oh my god.
That's one of the reasons
I'm glad I didn't let my hair down. Then I look like a metalhead.
Oh my gosh. Tom, you don't look amused, dude.
Hey, I'm just enjoying this, man. It's fun just to kind of watch you guys cut up, man. So
Jimmy, do you know Tom?
This is good stuff.
No. I love your name though, Thomas Dunn. It just sounds so authoritative.
You can call me Tom.
That's this great vibe. Thomas Dunn.
Jimmy, Tom's been around just as long as Joshua.
Yeah,
Tom's been around at festivals, gigs, shows, all that crap.
Nice.
Oh, sweet. That's beautiful.
And I got to say something too, Tom. Let them know what you have on the back of your vehicle.
I don't know what I have on the back of my vehicle.
You're
talking about. I got a lot of things in the back of my vehicle.
A rifle rack.
Yeah, just
rack.
you know,
a Biden Heritage sticker.
Are you talking about the
your Deliverance?
Crucified. Yeah.
Yeah, you got all that stuff.
I'm a long time fan of Christian heavy metal, and it's kind of weird for me because I didn't get into metal until I started listening to Christian heavy metal, and that's not that's not the way it was for a lot of people. I grew up in a church where hard rock and metal was bad, but when we found bands like Bloodgood, Deliverance, Tourniquet, Vengeance Rising, and all these bands, it was a game changer. And then the meetings started happening at church, like, oh no, something's wrong with our kids in the youth group, right? And but anyway, I just want to mention that I like David Bowie, I like Deliverance, I like Scattered Few and Stryper. And I don't know what that says about Scattered Few if I like them both. But I could tell you a lot about Sin Disease, and I could tell you a lot about To Hell with the Devil. So they're both of our warfare and all of these things. But hey, since I got the floor, I want to tell you a Michael Bloodgood story. Is that okay?
Yeah. Yes, please.
So, for the listeners of this show, they know that I'm a filmmaker. I made a few films. And a long time ago, I lived in Nashville, Tennessee, and I went to Sanctuary Church after Pastor Bob moved to Nashville. And I moved to Nashville because I wanted to make film. I was inspired, and it was about 1995. I just had a little boy was born, and my wife and I moved down there. And I started going to Sanctuary Church, and I had this idea that I wanted to make a documentary on Christian metal music. And I thought, man, I'm in the right place because this is like the, like a junkyard for old, Christian artists that showed up in Nashville. And I know all these people and I have these connections. So I started calling around and I started meeting people. I actually did an interview with a guy by the name of Gavin Morkel, who was a REX executive. Mm-hmm. I talked to some other places. I have up here on my desk a letter from Doug Mann from REX Records. He turned down my interview. Still have that rejection letter. But I talked to Michael Bloodgood on the phone. Somehow I got his number. And let me tell you what, this guy didn't know me from Adam, but he was so kind. He was so nice to me, not even knowing me, not even knowing what I could do or what my ability was or what kind of camera I had. And he's like, man, I want to help you do this. I think this is great. And I live in the Northwest, but I'll film the interview for you. You write the questions down and I'll film my answers. And man, that conversation stuck with me for so long. I'm like, who is this guy? Who's so nice? I'm just, some kid with a camcorder that wants to make a movie. And, that guy was so nice to me. Of course, I've seen Bloodgood live and I was shocked. I was shocked at the theatrics of Les Carlson, let me just say. But Tourniquet, game changer for us kids out here in Ohio. When we got those albums, man, it just took it up a notch, of course. And just the progressiveness. We didn't know what the secular people were doing. We heard Deliverance and we heard Tourniquet and we heard these other bands and we're like, man, we're not really interested in the secular music because this stuff is so cutting edge. But anyway, those are my stories. And hey, shout out to Pastor Bob. I don't know if he'll watch this part of the show. I haven't seen him in over 20 years, but I'm looking forward to seeing him here next weekend at the Mortal, heavy metal festival. So down in Versailles, Ohio. Anyway, that's my Michael Bloodgood story. Shout out to, cool to see Jimmy Brown here and Manny Morales and super fans for a long time, man.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Jimmy, did you know?
I love that story.
Jimmy, did you see the cup behind him?
Oh, of course, the In and Out. Immediately, I was like, "Is he on the West Coast?" But then he said Ohio, and it's like, "Oh, but he has at least an In and Out cup he's representing."
Yeah.
Man, I haven't had In and Out in probably 23 years.
23?
Shame.
Yeah,
Wow.
Sorry.
23 years. But
Yeah, but how long has it been since you've had a Tommy burger? That's what I want to know.
He doesn't even know what that is, Jimmy.
what is that?
Oh my
he
God,
does it.
Tommy Burger. Yes.
Don't go, Jimmy. Don't do it. Don't do it, Jimmy.
Is that
Tommy's on Rampart.
Yes,
How long
Yeah.
has it been since I've had a Happy Star?
Oh
Never.
my gosh.
So,
I was there actually with David from 12th Tribe.
Yes, you were. I know you had to have gone to Tommy's on Rampart.
Yes.
You stand up and eat.
Yes.
You just hang out there. It's 24 hours, and it's just the yummiest burger ever.
And then he
It
took
smells
me to
exactly the
burrito
same
place.
as it does coming in and going out.
It's not true. That's not true. Every time, Jimmy, every time I post that I'm at a Tommy's, I get comments. You know that there's pork in that chili, idiots.
Really?
There is not
They
pork
actually
in that
take
chili, dude.
they actually take the time to do that, huh? Even if you
They
didn't
do.
think the
Isn't that
band,
weird?
Michael was such a sincere and solid guy. He's left for Jesus and pastor. See, agree, Timmer. That's the thing about everybody I know that knows Michael. All says the same thing. He's just one of those. He's just a genuine guy, a real guy. That's why I love that story, Tom, that you just told too.
Yeah.
Because it just shows the kind of the dude. He was just amazing. He was just an amazing dude.
And Jimmy, this Timmer guy, he's the real deal as well. I'm introducing you to all these people because you're like a newbie around here. You're like a tourist, dude.
I know. Well, just I hide. You know that.
If you guys don't know, Jimmy and I go back 30 plus years, man. So there's a
Oh
lot
God,
of history there.
That's 1990. Yeah, 1990.
Wow.
A long time. That's like me and you, Manny. 5 years. 5 years, a little short. That's it. Yeah, because you and I are 85.
Maybe
And
Manny's jealous. That's why he was talking smack.
Oh, that's why he's getting all mad. It's the East LA coming out of him. Alan, that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, hey,
That's funny.
must be.
Where did Dougie? I met you with the Tribe, right? With 12th Tribe.
Well, we first met on, I think it was the Weapons Warfare Tour with Sacrament.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's
like
true. Yeah, that's right.
30 years ago. Or
I just
don't
remember.
know.
It's so weird. I was thinking of them the other day. Sacrament, as a matter of fact. Liner credits of the Syntheses albums. Thanks, Stryper, for the musical and lyrical influence. I swear I read that.
That's awesome.
Let me see. Let me pull it out. Let me see if I got the liner notes.
Oh, look at that! Look at that! Look at that! But so the Stryper Barron Cross sound man was our sound man.
Back, Drew Fisher. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
way back, way back. So he was like, he used to do sound for us in '83, and so he had our original demo that we put out in '85. And so between '85 and '89, Drew Fisher is traveling the world doing sound for Stryper, Barron Cross, all those guys, like globally. And guess what he was playing before all the shows? This Scattered Few demo. So he created this whole thing so that when we came out in '89, there was an already existing. So I guess I should probably be nicer about the heavy metal guys that were listening. That's why all you heavy metal guys like that music, because you were hearing it.
Alan,
it's so funny.
Sorry, Jimmy. I was just going to say this.
Go ahead, Dougie.
I was just going to say this. As far as Scattered Few goes, we would never have been introduced to Scattered Few had we not have been introduced to Deliverance or The Crucified, because
we came out before both those bands, so I'm not sure what you're talking about.
I did not hear. No, you did not.
Yeah, we did. Ask Jimmy. He knows.
Actually, they did. Yeah, they did.
See, I went from Hot Metal Summer.
2 years before Deliverance was formed in '85.
3 before Crucified.
Well, they came out on Alarma, and they went under the radar because I was buying music off Intense.
Yeah.
So when I
Right.
saw that Alarma label, I was like, I
Yeah.
don't know.
See,
Well,
and that never made
I
sense
had
to
that
me.
demo.
But
I had that demo.
it was
I
Mike
had the original
McLean, man.
Scattered
He
View
heard looking to
demo.
my side and put us on Alarma.
I know he did. But I had that demo, and I remember reading an interview with Terry, in of all things CCM, and he mentioned bands he was working with and producing. He mentioned Crystal Lewis and everything, and he said, and the most interesting I'm working with is a band here in LA called Scattered Few. And right then, that's what put you guys on my radar, because of course, if Terry's producing it, I gotta hear it. So
Terry is so good, dude.
he's a genius.
So I heard about Scattered Few, and I was like, yeah, I saw that demo at the store. Is that any good? And they're like, oh yeah, you got to get it. And I went back to the Christian bookstore. They didn't have any copies left, but I was like, can I have the demo? And you know where it says Sin Disease on the cover? It also said demo across his chest too. So I had the actual demo because that's the only one they had left. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I didn't know that history. See, I heard all the bands first on Hot Metal Summer.
Yes,
We were on Hot Metal Summer 3.
that was the one I heard first.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think it had Beggar. But wait. I'm not sure, because we were also on the Skate Arise. Remember that? Andre?
Rise Sweets. Oh yeah, I had that too.
I had that. Yeah.
Whatever happened to him?
No idea.
He was going to be like the big Christian skater boy.
Yeah, they were going to start a company and everything. I know that, but nothing ever happened.
He broke his ankle.
Dude, he broke his ankle. Dude, you know what was scary? You know what was scary though, Jimmy? You'll appreciate this, Jimmy. So we signed the front line, which really upset Crucified, because they heard that we were going to sign to Narrow Path. So they signed to Narrow Path because we were going to sign to Narrow Path, but we got a frontline deal instead. They're like, but we're on Narrow Path now. Sorry. Anyway, so we signed to Frontline, and they're doing interviews with us for bumpers, for promos, and like Hot Metal 3 and Rise Skates and stuff. But you know who the MC was? I was doing the whole hey, and then asking us the questions and stuff.
Tony Shore.
Roger
Martinez. Oh my gosh! Hey,
Wow.
And we're like, okay, we're gonna do all right. Okay, you're on. Hey, dude, man, he's like this whole like metamorphosis in like a 5 second, like in a drop. Not even 5 seconds. It was like a fraction. It's like, and I'm like, who the hell is this guy?
I know.
Hey, all you heavy metal guys freak me out, dude.
Tell us about this Ronald Donkus, bro.
It was crazy. All right. So who else is talking?
Too funny.
Who else is?
Yeah, you know what? Josh never got to finish. Oh, here we go. I'm seeing something about the history of Sin Disease. See, there it is.
Gosh. The
1983, baby.
Is all fake news, man.
Okay, but I told you 83. Was I not correct? Yes.
Well, of course. Yeah.
Let's go ahead and read that a little closer.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe if you want to address some of these things, Alan.
It's fake news.
The
fake. I
band
went in there and
played
corrected.
Christian festivals such as Cornerstone, but they did not limit themselves to Christian venues. They toured with secular artists such as Bad Brains, and would play at explicitly non-Christian events such as Earth First event.
That was crazy.
And ran into further trouble in 1991 when an interview where Aguirre admitted to smoking marijuana. These factors led to the ban.
Hey, I didn't know we were going to bring that up. I got a story about that.
From
Don't you all?
Yes,
So
we all do.
I guess it's a bad idea to
Raise
tell
your hand if you
CCM
want to hear it.
I think it's a bad idea. Apparently, it's a bad idea to tell CCM magazine that you smoke pot.
Okay, here we go.
Go ahead.
I'm watching Mortal in Columbus, Ohio, at the King's Place, and Mortal's. It must have been. I'm calling this guy out now. I couldn't tell you what his name was, but it was Mortal's road manager, And I was just talking to him about the California scene because I'm from Ohio, and we're talking about Mortal, the Crucified, and he's like, "Yeah, I know all these guys. These guys are my friends." Scattered Few. I was like, "Oh, Scattered Few, wow." And he's like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "Allan's doing pretty good, man. He's been clean, for a few months now." That's my story.
Well, so okay, no, that's good because for the record, the CCM magazine interview that I did stated that yes, I smoke pot, but I'm in the process of quitting, and my pastor's involved, and I literally stopped smoking pot within 6 months of that interview.
Yeah,
now, that does not
wait a minute. When was that interview?
91, and I quit smoking pot in 1992. Biatch. Oh, sorry, Chris.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, and you and I met in 1991.
Right.
Yeah. So we rolled up a spliff and went away the day with marijuana in the brain.
Look at this. Look at this, Jimmy. Scattered Few was a part of so many people's hot metal summer of love.
Oh, here we go.
Uh-oh.
I owned one Scattered Few album. It was cool. I assumed they were going for a Bad Brains punk reggae thing.
Now, poor Rick doesn't know we had been working with HR from Bad Brains for about 4 years before Sin Disease came out.
Yeah.
Well, Allan, I got a question for you. Who produced Jawbone of an Ass?
Allan did.
Who mixed it? Was it
It was me and Mark Rodriguez, who was the sound guy for Mortal.
Yep.
Because we made our third it was the third version of Jawbone of an Ass, and we did it at
Bob Moon assisted, didn't he?
And we did it at Naughty Pine Studio at Mortal's studio. So Mark Rodriguez and I basically lived there for about 2 months.
Wow.
And that was the third version you recorded of the album?
That was the third version. Yeah.
What we got going on? Anybody got any good questions? Any good stories?
Manny, why don't you show us
Manny hasn't shared nothing.
Bass?
Yeah.
What? What'd you say?
His camera's frozen.
I said, Manny, show us your newest bass that you bought,
Oh, my newest one. Oh, I love it, man. I got to admit, I really enjoy it.
So, actually, Manny,
we haven't heard from Andre or Joshua yet, Doug.
What, Andre? What you got going on, man?
I'm just enjoying this. It's like
our inner child, our 13-year-old inner child.
Oh, I know, dude. That's why I'm just like, I'm like holding it in because Scattered Few, being a brother up here in Cleveland, I maybe was the only one that was into Scattered Few. Deliverance. I mean, seeing you, Allan, seeing you, Jimmy, I'm just like, wow. It's like the hours of just sitting back in the day and just listening to music. And then Sin Disease, I remember there was a Christian bookstore up here called Rainbows. And the one guy that ran the department, he was just like, I saw the album cover. I was like, yo, check this out. And he's just like, yeah, some band, And I listened to it. I was like, dude, what are you talking about? This is awesome. And it's just amazing. What I didn't come aboard with Scattered Few, Sin Disease. What got me with it, like when Doug told me about you guys are going to be on today, and I'm looking at the cover. I'm thinking, okay, it's probably going to, the production is probably going to be mediocre or whatever. And I listened to that album and was just like, holy crap, they came out swinging. Yeah. It was like the engineering, everything was done well. And then all the songs, and I'm just like, when Doug told me about you being on, Allan, I was like, oh, I got to listen to it. Because I drive a semi truck. I was coming back from York, Pennsylvania, back here. And I was like, oh, got to listen to it. And it was like, I haven't heard the album in years. I still remember all the lyrics. I was like, wow. Thank
you.
Yeah. It's not Jimmy, Deliverance. Weapons of Our Warfare on the Hot Metal song. Man, that video,
I've seen that video.
It's an honor. It's like, why couldn't this been like 30 plus years ago? You know, it's like, you know.
Well, we're a lot more fun now, Andre. So, because if you would have met us 30 years ago, you would have been really disappointed.
No, that's so true. Andre, you would have hated us 30 years ago, man. We're old now. We've figured out some things since then. But Andre, let me tell you. You mentioned production. Jimmy will attest to this. When you have the late great Gene Eugene and Terry Taylor in the room with you, oh my gosh.
Great guys. Wow.
It's just, it's effortless. It was effortless working with those two guys together. It was I'm gonna get all teary-eyed here. It was a great production team, having Terry and Gene Eugene together like that.
Yeah, everything they did together.
Nothing like it.
Maybe if they would have produced Striper, you wouldn't.
Maybe.
That's a good one.
But here's the beauty.
I don't know, because I worked with Jimmy. I still can't hear it.
Well, here's the beauty of it. Is it didn't matter how much you offered Terry, he would not have produced Striper. And I know that I could say that for a fact. But I will say this, Alan. You always say, "Oh, well, I never heard Deliverance." Yes, you did. In fact, I asked you, and you were going to produce the vocals for Stay of Execution, and I asked Terry Taylor, I want to bring Alan on board, and he said, "Well, yeah." He goes, "I'm all for it, but you have to run it through the label." And so I went and I met with you, and I showed you through the demos. You started coming up with ideas. We were there in Burbank. It was awesome in your office, and we just had a blast that entire day. And then the next day, I went right to, because we negotiated a price. I went to McLean's office, and they were like, "No, not going to happen." And I'm like, "Why?" And he goes, "Ask Alan." I'm like,
he's the freaking devil. Allan Aguirre was the devil, man.
Yes.
And it took him like 25 years to like catch up and go, "Oh, okay. He's still married. His kids serve God, and he's still a Christian." Oops.
Timmer, seriously though, people bring up smack, but you would be hard pressed to find someone who's hardcore about loving and following the Messiah than Alan.
That was very nice.
That was nice, Ian. I know other people, but that's fine.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say
But Andre, though, thank you. Those are very kind words. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yes, Andre, that meant a lot to hear that. But like I said, it's better that you're hanging with us right now, because you probably would have thought we were big, huge turds 30 years ago.
Oh my gosh, we were, Jimmy, but we were.
yeah, we were.
Like I said, and just being here, I wish I was on the West Coast, because a lot of the music that Doug and I used to sit and just listen to, from Mortal, The Crucified, and then I was on the Blonde Vinyl kick, from Fluffy Loves You, Fluffy, Breakfast with Amy.
Sure.
So my musical taste.
Breakfast with Amy.
Oh, I remember when my mom saw the case, she was like, "Breakfast with Amy Grant?" I'm like, no, just put it down. It's okay. But it's just my musical taste is just, life's too short to be stuck in a bubble. Like, this is the kind of music you need to listen to. And it's like, no, I've been a metalhead since I was 10. I remember finding a picture my dad took of me in front of his Chrysler Cordoba, my big self, and I had a Maiden shirt on, Flight of Icarus. And I was showing my friends, dude, I've been a metalhead since I was a kid. And my dad, all about blues, jazz, R&B. He's like, "I don't know where you got this from." I'm like, "I don't know either, Dad. I just love it." And then, I come from the punk and hardcore scenes, and, and when Christian music started opening up and with the metal groups, and I remember watching the hot metal one with Vengeance Rising. I remember my youth pastor, he walked in because it was at his house. He points to the TV and he goes, "That's borderline Satanism," and walks away. My friend and I looked at each other like, "What?"
And your pastor had discernment. Your pastor had
Actually, yeah, I was about to say, I think he had discernment.
He was a prophet.
Hey, we need to get
God.
Roger Martinez on next.
Oh my
Maybe
gosh.
maybe we can find him. But
I'm in contact with Roger. I know Roger. I know where he. I know exactly.
I know Roger. Dude, I was there.
Yeah.
When he made the switch, I was there and I was like, holy crap, I'm watching a metamorphosis right now. Andre, so you were into punk and hardcore, so then you were obviously a Bad Brains fan.
Yes.
Oh man.
When you say you were
Who wasn't a Bad Brains fan?
I know people that were not Bad Brains fans. There's people in this panel that don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Chris,
that's
poor
true.
Chris.
That's true. Well, you know what's funny, Andre?
Doesn't know
You know,
Bad
Andre.
Brains?
I got to tell you, Andre. Though you would have cracked because you're saying you felt like well because you're a brother you shouldn't have been listening to metal or it kind of seemed strange or whatever. But if you would have saw me in 1990, 91, 92, ask Manny. I was all with my Dickies. And I was wearing cross colors, and I was playing guitar on 12th Tribe and Gospel Gangster albums. In fact, I produced 12th Tribe records, and so you never judge a book by its cover, man.
I do.
You never know. And well, of course you do. And then, of course, I mean, who in the world would have ever known, other than if you hung out with me, that I was such a giant DA and David Bowie nugget. So, I mean, and also a fanboy of some other jerk named Rommel Domkus. So, which was funny. I worked a telemarketing job, and my name that I used was Remy Domkus.
Oh my gosh.
Remy Domkus.
That's hilarious. Boy, those Bad Brains boys,
This is Remy Domkus.
they had it going on.
Bad Brains was, yes.
Brutal. So you can use the word brutal. And live, the original Bad Brains
use the
live
word.
back
Go
in the
ahead and
day?
use the word brutal. Use the word brutal one more time.
Brutal. Bad Brains
There it
were
is.
brutal.
Yeah. That's as brutal as Hydrocell.
Oh my god.
Oh, there it is. There's the cup.
But it's
The
empty.
striper cup.
But it's empty.
Oh, that's awful to see that glass empty. But it
Bad
is
Brains, man.
summer.
So I have a question for Jimmy. Let's talk about this record and how. I'm just joking. I can't do that. That's every interview that Jimmy does since that album came out. So tell us.
Yeah.
Or the State of Execution record that came out. So tell us, why did you change the departure from the musical styles of Weapons of Warfare?
Yeah. It's
I got
funny
a
is
Jimmy
learn.
story. It's real short.
Oh, I got to hear this.
Okay, so once upon a time, there used to be these thing called cassette tapes, and then the Christian bands coming out of Frontline and Intense, they would have merch, right, that they would sell on these microscopic little order forms. And I sent away, like with great patience, I sent away for some Deliverance merch. So actually, the shirt that I bought, I don't think was ever printed, and it was a pentagram that was X'd out.
It's against the law.
Yeah. So anyway, I
that
tracked
happened.
down Jimmy Brown at Cornerstone, and he was alone. And I went up to him and I told him what happened, and he told me what happened.
You took him to
And
a
he said, "Hey,"
cornfield and beat him up.
He said, sorry that happened to you. That was out of my control. Help yourself to
He
an item
blamed
from
management.
my table. And I took a green Deliverance hat that he gave me. And
Oh, wow.
he wanted to make it right by me. And I didn't know what would happen. I didn't know what was going on because it probably had been, maybe a year. I was waiting. Every day, Jimmy, not your fault, but I did go to the mail. I'm like, okay, it's got to be here today. My Deliverance shirt has got to be
poor
here.
guy.
So, and
yeah, it was a nightmare.
But you made it right. You made it right.
I don't know. He still sounds a little bitter, Jimmy.
Oh no, I don't think he sounds good. but you know, I'm glad that you brought up that I tried to at least attempt to right the wrong, especially that it really, I didn't blame management, by the way, Alan. I blamed who was actually responsible for it. But nonetheless, you know, I'm glad at least you got something out of it, because I think the rest of the people, we actually had to, because it was a little over 350 people that we had to refund, right, Manny? I mean, it was, even when you came into the band in '92, we were having to do it all the way until the Learn album, '93. We were still compensating people from the What a Joke order form. So yeah, that was crazy.
And if I remember correctly, you guys didn't get the money. You were paying back what somebody else took. Was that right?
Oh yeah, we didn't.
Yeah.
Remember, we didn't see royalties for a solid 2 years because we were having to pay off that debt. Yeah, it was not good. It was a really bad situation. But c'est la vie. It's over. It's done. We made some great records, right, though, Manny? I mean, because we did Stay, Learn, River, you know, and working with Terry Taylor and Gene Eugene.
Yeah, that was great working with them.
And now you guys are doing your solo project together, correct?
Correct.
Yes. Yes.
That's awesome.
In fact, I'm going to Texas. Manny, tell them about the band that you put together, because I mean, you put it together almost 2 years ago.
Yeah, what's amazing is we decided to go ahead. I was talking to Jimmy about putting this band together, the solo band. And so I'm playing out here in Texas with quite a different musicians, and I ran into a guitar player that I play with in a cover band, Nuncio Tucci, and he's a great guitar player. So I invited him, hey, you want to check out this material? I'm looking for a guitar player because I'm putting a band together. So he said, yeah, sure. Next thing you know, I have him. I said I had to find a drummer. I ended up getting Phil Barrero. He's a drummer out this way. So we started practicing, and then COVID hit.
I don't mean to interrupt, but Phil Barrero is actually the drummer for Lust Control, Doug Van Pelt's band. Yeah.
You said Lust.
And now I know.
So wait, Jimmy, you're going to Texas?
Yeah, I'm going to Texas this Friday. Where I'm going.
Yeah, I'll see him in a couple days.
Coming back Monday.
Yeah.
Oh, this Friday. Okay, I'm going to be out there in October.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice.
When are you going to be here in Vegas? Okay, Manny, go ahead and finish your story.
No, so I went ahead and I got these guys together and started working on the material, and so we worked.
COVID hit.
And COVID hit, and it just totally knocked everything out. So we just practiced for about a year, and nothing was going because of COVID and all the crap that's going on, as you guys know. So finally, kind of lifted up here. And I was able to get the guys back together and talk to Jim, and we're ready to start rolling because the band was pretty much ready and tight to roll. So I just need Jimmy Brown. So now I have him coming out Friday.
That's awesome.
Oh, it's going to be awesome. We're going to have fun. Now, on the album, though, Doug, you know, I brought back John Knox.
Right.
Because John Knox, who was with Whiteheart, and Adam again with Gene's band, John played on the Learn and the River Disturbance album. So, and me and Manny just made magic. I mean, just the three of us had a sound. And so when we all got back together again in 2017 out in Alabama, and we just, for 2 weeks in the studio, it happened all over again. It was just magical. And the record came out great. You know, it was fantastic. And it's my first solo record in many moons, and it took to happen, but it happened. So it's pretty cool. We're really excited to get the live show going now.
Yep.
And that's what Doug, I've been working on. You're supposed to be a big part of that, Doug. Remember?
Yeah, remember. I remember that, Doug. You can get things going. Oh, well, we'll just throw that on your plate now.
I'm still here.
Jimmy, are you going to tour, Jimmy?
Think so, yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it'd be nice. Beautiful thing. Yep. I think somebody, a band called Scattered Few should reunite and do the tour with us.
Don't even get me started.
I agree.
Yeah, he's been trying that for a while.
Those guys, like, no, it's not going to happen. I tried. I did everything I could. They hate me so much, they won't do a show with me.
Well, get 3 other guys and do it. We just need you.
Well, hey, you could probably get George Ochoa to do it. He does anything. Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. Because I was going to give my how I first met Jimmy Brown story.
Oh man!
Because
and you guys thought I was going to be the bad guy on this show.
I was at a show.
Love the shirt, dude. Frail.
Deliverance.
Frail is like the best. I'm sorry. Go ahead. So, I was just commenting. I was commenting on your shirt.
My shirt?
Yeah.
The Blame?
Yeah.
Dude, Frail is the best Christian punk rock album ever made. I've been saying that since it came out.
I agree.
Oh
and
my
hey,
God.
you could always get Brian Gray to play with you.
Dude, whoever, no, he's a liberal. Whoever. It's true. Whoever thought that Brian Gray, the guy from Rocks and Pink Cement, right? Wasn't he in Rocks and Pink Cement? Yeah. Whoever thought that guy would go out and like do what he did?
Yeah.
Talk about pulling it off, man. I love that, Brian. I love that guy. I love Brian Gray.
Yeah.
So,
Brian Gray.
Amazing dude.
Me and Brian Gray used to work together doing sandblasting pools.
Dude, you know what would be awesome? If we could go on the road with like Head Noise, the Blamed, Robert and Edie. Come on. Look, Robert and Edie. There's Robert and Edie Goodwin right there on the cover of my book. Cornerstone, right there.
Well, look,
I
Alan,
love those two people. What?
You know them. Let's make it happen.
Dude, Robert and Edie, they're so legit. Dude, how much fun would that be? No, dude, Frail, dude. Anyway, I was complimenting you on your shirt. You were speaking. Go ahead.
Thank you. So why the George Ochoa comment is because
you can't say that about George Ochoa. You know, George and I tried to do something way back when.
During Deliverance, Recon, Vengeance.
Oh gosh,
no! It was after Deliverance, and what the
song was called "Dear." The song was called "Dear Arise."
You know what made me laugh the most? You know what made me laugh the most about that? When you called me and told me, Alan, that you were working with George. I didn't tell you then, but it was like every time I popped your CD or your cassette in when we were on tour, he took it out and would throw it. I had to make multiple copies. He'd throw it out the window. He said it was the worst crap he'd ever heard. And I mean, all the time. He hated Scattered Few. And,
you know?
And it's so hilarious. And I remember when we were even looking for a drummer, and I said, I would hate to do it, but I would totally take Sam West in a heartbeat. And he goes, that dork and that stupid band and blah, blah, blah. So here he is. He's not in Deliverance anymore. And then all of a sudden you told me you're working with him. I was like, what? I mean, it was like, that is just the weirdest thing, but whatever.
Look at this comment. I was Ochoa's striper.
Well,
you were
Ochoa's
striper.
When I saw you guys play, I was talking to the guys at Sacrament, and Jim Chaffin was your drummer for that tour. And I got to talk to Jim for a second, and you came by, and I tried to stop you to get an autograph. And George yelled at me, like, why? We're busy, kid. And you then stopped in your tracks. You turned around and said, I'll sign your jacket. And that's how we ended up talking, because George was a mean jerk to me.
That's funny.
And then decades later, here we are.
And where's George?
Oh, he's in Nashville.
Yep.
I haven't said anything negative about George Ochoa.
No, I mean,
no.
Hey.
No, only everybody else in the metal community, but that's fine.
Well, we're gonna get Michael Sweet on with Allan Aguirre, and
no, don't do that to me.
Oh, I would so love that. I would love to be there. I
That'd be
could
horrible.
actually facilitate it too.
Actually, I tried to get Oz Fox on this episode because he worked with Bloodgood.
Well, he played in Bloodgood, right?
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
if you're gonna do that, then you have to get those guys from like what's that really bad boy band?
There's several of them.
I don't know a
DC
good
Talk.
one.
Okay,
I
if
don't
you're
know
gonna
which one
do
you're
that,
talking about.
Then you have to get a couple guys from DC Talk too, and it'll be a total cockadoodle show right at that point.
Oh man,
Talk about a
DC
train
Talk.
wreck. Could you see me with like a sandwich by DC Talk and Striper?
Oh, do you remember Manny? Do you remember 1995 Ichthus Festival? Me cussing DC Talk out
Oh shoot!
in the press tent.
Why were you cussing DC Talk out?
Well, he'll
Oh, a
explain.
long story, but it took Daryl Mansfield and Glenn Kaiser had to yank me out of the press tent, man, because I was going off on them. Wanted to actually clock that Toby guy.
Clank has some great DC Talk stories. Oh my gosh.
So Josh, you've been quiet all night, man. What's up?
Oh,
Because he knows too much.
Josh,
What do you know,
just
brother?
been chilling,
Well,
man.
I'll tell you, like, I got into punk when I was like 8 years old in '84. I got it like Suicidal Tendencies. That tape floated into my life somehow.
Oh,
We were
yeah.
all little skater kids. Got into Metallica around '86. So
So that's when Ronald got into them.
No, dude.
but by the time like
Joshua, who did Metallica rip off, Joshua?
Deliverance were out because
The
those were
Misfits.
bands I could let people hear that were Christian bands
Diamond.
that were into that stuff. It wasn't like I wasn't ashamed to play Scattered Few to punk friends, where pretty much any Christian punk record before that,
Like,
I wasn't gonna go. Like I'm in like Oakland and Berkeley and San Francisco, those punk scenes, and skating around those areas and stuff. So, nothing against One Bad Pig, but I'm not gonna give that tape to anybody.
one bad freaking swine. What was that all about? Joshua.
You guys were like,
we toured with
for
them.
me, a lot of the bands that were on Frontline.
Joshua, who did Metallica rip off?
Who did Metallica rip off?
To be Metallica. Where did they get their sound from?
What, like
guess
Misfits and Diamond Head? And
No, Discharge.
Discharge is
okay.
definitely one of those bands
I
that had
can
the
kind of
DD.
understand.
Yep. Hey, Chris, there's a great comment here. Toby Mac is going to play young Allan on the Sid Roth recreation segment. That is awesome. That is so awesome. All right, sorry, Josh, for interrupting you, but Discharge, dude, come on, Discharge.
Right. Definitely one of their influences, too. And they've mentioned them before. I think they covered it, Discharge.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, of course
That is,
they did.
oh my gosh, Discharge was such an amazing band. You know, the Bad Brains and them went out on tour in '81.
But
Did they do a Golden Voice show?
I don't know. I wasn't even in the country.
Oh no, you were in South America at the time. Yeah.
Central and South, yeah.
Yeah.
no,
I was a Mormon missionary.
anyways, what I was saying was you guys were a ministry tool for me to like a lot of people throughout like high school and junior high. Your bands were, I'd say Tourniquet was another band, Vengeance. So because I was like hanging out with real metalheads and real punks, and we were all skaters, and that was kind of what we were into. So
Who'd we lose?
I think we lost Chris.
Oh,
he's done.
I don't think he's
I think
doing
he got mad at
Alan.
mad at Alan.
He got mad at the Toby Mac comment.
Yeah, he had to go take a breather after the
Chris,
show.
are you a closet DC Talk?
He is a
Jesus Freak-
huge
You have
DC
Jesus
Talk
Freak
fan.
tattooed
Oh,
somewhere
come
on your
on.
body, right?
Toby Mac is like his hero.
No, he's not
Oh my
hero.
gosh. Those guys are
He's a
so
great-
bad.
I have a lot of respect for Toby, but
Really?
Why?
Why?
hey, okay. Everybody else who's been on here, they've already heard me say that. So I actually do have some real questions.
Okay.
Bring it back.
Oh,
Yeah, we've been farting around this whole time.
Yeah, I actually So I actually I've had this question pretty much all day. This is for the artist on the panel, not the faux artist like Doug, who did play with the Blamed. I mean, Josh can answer this too because he's
You did? Doug, what did you do with the Blamed?
It was left out in the Blamed.
he played the jaw harp.
Yeah.
He played the radio. No, really. What
Go
did you do with
ahead,
the?
man.
I'm asking because I don't know. I'm not trying to diss you.
Left Out was basically the Blamed with Mike Porter and Brian.
I remember
Gray.
Left Out.
And I did a couple shows before the album actually came out.
Oh,
And then
so you're like a Pete Best.
I'm like a nobody.
Like a Pete Best.
I don't even know who Pete Best
So,
is.
Alan, I did have a question.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's the Beatles.
So,
That's right.
so I want to ask you guys this question from the perspective of young men to where you guys are at today. When you first were starting to make music, where were your hearts at from ministry wise? Was it all about making art rather than ministry, and how has that transformed throughout the years of your journey and your faiths?
Can you repeat that question?
Yeah. So when you first started making music, right,
You understood
you're
it.
smoking pot, right? So when Alan's first making music, he's smoking pot. He's living it up. Where was your heart at? Where was for doing ministry, doing it for the right reasons rather than just making music, and sort of the like the tooth and nail model, right? Is you break into
Right.
the industry because it's easier to get into the Christian realm. That will get in the back door to the industry.
Well, we were 5 years before Tooth and Nail, so that didn't apply to us.
Yeah,
Right, Jimmy?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
no, I was serious.
If I may go first,
Yes,
I will
please.
say this just for me with Deliverance, the first 4 years of our band, I can genuinely say it was ministry. Because we didn't play churches, we didn't play Christian shows. We were out playing the secular clubs with the non-Christian bands. We were just doing our thing, and it was genuine. It was real. What ruined it was when I first accepted my first invitation to play a Christian festival, and after that, we got locked into playing nothing but Christian shows. And then when we signed with a Christian record label, and then I saw when our first album came out, a poster that was posted in the back part of the Lighthouse Christian bookstore in Long Beach. And it said, for Deliverance, for fans of Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, and Anthrax. And right then I knew we were being screwed and pushed to be an alternative for the new agenda, and now we were strictly Christian entertainers from that point on. And so at that point, I made a personal decision to shift gears and to just start doing art and writing from my heart and writing as an experiences as a believer for others to relate to. And that's kind of where my journey still is,
I agree.
I was very serious about the ministry part of it. It didn't matter which is why it was difficult for me to, which is why I had to, quit smoking pot, for example. But the ministry part has always been a very serious thing. What got in the way was my perspective of it was a lot more intense than what everybody else was doing. I mean, how many bands were like promoting Charismatica in 1989, 1990. Nobody was. And
Right.
no, the ministry part was very, very important. And so, I mean, the lyrics to Jawbone, well, look at the lyrics. The lyrics of Sin Disease and Jawbone
Mhm.
are very in your face about it. Jawbone is really a lot of the conflict that I was having within myself and my real life, and that lack of balance that I needed to correct, and I did. Unlike, I mean, Jimmy's one, besides Sonny from POD, Jimmy's one of the few guys, Terry, I mean, there's a handful of us that can say, oh yeah, we've been married more than 10 years. We've been married more than 20 years. We've been married more than 25 years to the same girl.
Yeah.
And we went through all of that with that girl, and we're
Yeah.
still together. There's this covenant thing, this fear of God thing. So, I mean, time literally tells all. I can sit there and blow smoke up your
Jawbone.
Between 1988 and 1992, right? But then what happens 30 years later? Where am I 30 years later? You're right. Time tells all. You can be a charlatan for only so long. It'll actually expose you.
That's right.
So
That's right.
yeah, the ministry part was really serious, because here we are today still going, you know what? Fear God and walk in his covenants, because outside of that, right? I mean, I remember I was one of the first guys to it's not the 1 hour on stage that defines you. It's the other 23 hours of the day that defines you. So yeah, the ministry part is very serious. Was very serious to me then, and it's even more so now, because I'm smarter today than I was 30 years ago. Like Jimmy said to Andre, man, you don't want to be hanging out with us back in the early 90s, because we were a bunch of dorks. We were young, we were still in our 20s.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you had it to do over again, what would you have changed with the route that you guys went?
I know exactly. There's like maybe three things, but there's 2 to 3 things I know that I would do differently. And they're I wouldn't have signed that deal in 91. I wouldn't have had an affair in 92. And that would have changed everything.
Gotcha.
See, if you go back and listen to Jawbone, it in 1990, we're doing Jawbone in 1990, right? Even though it didn't come out till 94. Those lyrics are all prophetic, because my life ends up, it was like not a self-fulfilling prophecy, but it was a prophetic thing that was going on there. And most Christians don't understand that piece of the puzzle, but
well, it says in the words of the psalmist lies prophecy. So, and that's an absolute truth.
Yeah. There's 2 things I would have done differently. And I think about it all the time, I mean, my wife and I discuss it all the time, what happened, what could have been, how it worked out, how it played out, and I have no regrets, because it was it's like a funnel, right? It forced me to deal with my flesh. It forced me to deal with, I need to be a better husband. I need to be a better father. I need to be a better man of God, right? Jawbone flat out tells you, what good is it if I gain the world and lose my soul? I was going through that process of, I am out here saying this stuff, but my personal life is a freaking wreck. I need to course correct.
Right.
And that took it's like steering the Titanic. It takes, and so when Spyglass came out, I was focusing more on, okay, I need to fix this. And so by the time 98 came around with Grandmother's Spaceship, that's why I tapped out. I needed to concentrate. I was asked when I turned 50, 8 years ago, I was asked in an interview, what would I tell my 25-year-old self? And I answered, oh, that's easy. You're right. And they said, well, that's really arrogant. I'm like, why? Everything I knew to be true when I was 25 was absolutely true. I want to, and I want to be 50 years old. I want to be in my 50s, still married to the same girl with a relationship with my children. And I accomplished that.
That's awesome.
Jimmy, you were there.
It's a good feeling, isn't it?
You were there in 92, May of 92. You were there. Remember when I shaved when Gyro shaved my dreads?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's more of an achievement than anything I've done musically or otherwise. That I'm here today. I find myself where I am today.
That's all. I never knew that about you, Allan. That's amazing. You know, Jimmy, what about you? What would you have done differently? I mean, I know your story. You know, me and you have had many hours of conversation, like hours and hours of conversation on the phone. So, what would you have done differently?
I would have really, really hounded my parents for that synthesizer and not been a metal band.
That moved in 1978. Oh, that's awesome. And he would have taken the path of Gary Newman.
Exactly. It started Two-Way Army Part 2.
Oh my gosh. That was such an amazing record.
Oh, I know.
Oh my gosh.
No, it's very much like Allan said. I mean, I think Allan took the words out of my mouth. It's really, I mean, with our paths are as artists are just they're strange paths, you know, and they're you know, it's funny to see, especially now in the current day of age and you know, the TikTok age, and everybody wants to be a rock star. Everybody wants to be a singer. Everybody wants to be a musician. Everybody wants to be an art performer or whatever. And it's like, you know, and I'm trying to say this without sounding elitist, but you know, this is a special club that we're in, and we didn't ask to be in it. It's just who we are, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not easy to be a musician. It's not easy to be an artist. It's not easy to be a songwriter. It's not easy to be a performer. It's very hard. And you could either be a part of the machine or you could just do it from your heart. And my advice to my young self would be to stay away from the Christian machine, because I thought by signing with a Christian label that it would be better for us spiritually, and I realized that it was actually worse, and kind of took us away from the original idea of what we were. But you know, like Allan said, all these years later, I have no regrets. You know, you know, would there have been things I would have liked to have changed? Sure. But we learned through all of it. So, and Manny, me and Allan hogged it all, but you know, the question was for all the artists on here, so you should answer too.
Well, both of
you were, for a lot of you that don't know, Manny was our bass player in 1985 when we started. So
yeah, I started back. I knew Jimmy when he was 15. So, and being in the ministry back then with Jim, you know, he was young, but you know, as far as ministry is concerned, that was the goal, period. Sharing Christ, sharing our lives, and sharing the talent that God has given us, and working together with Chris Hyde. That was wonderful. I mean, us three jamming in Jim's garage, you know, Chris Hyde and Jim and myself. Actually, I even have some tapes still from those days. Pretty amazing. But yeah, as far as the ministry is concerned, you know, joining with Jim and, you know, leaving and coming back, I mean, my heart's always been the same. It's always been ministry minded. The music has been just a gift that I can bless others. So, and that's always been my heart. So, and playing with Jim and Jimmy and going out and doing what we do out in shows. I mean, it was just God would use what He needed to do, and we'd go out and do what we had to for Him, for His glory. So, ministry minded, what would I change? I don't think I'd change anything, because I think God at this point has put me through going through valleys and peaks and all kinds of things that I've gone through with Jimmy. And it just made us a better person to this point. We can help others now at this point if they ask, and we can share and encourage them, uplift them. That's our goal. So that's what God put in us, to love all, to everybody. So yeah, that's my heart.
I got something I want to mention. I like to get comments on. I'm just curious. People go to college to be missionaries, you know, to go overseas, to go into wherever they're going, whether it would be, you know, in a third world country, or, you know, that they get, maybe even ordained or whatever, to go out and lead like this. And bands, Christian bands, especially bands that tour with secular bands, are going into a dark environment, surrounded by, the band Sacred Warrior wrote a song about it, Minister by Night, where, surrounded by fruits of sin, that consume your daughter or son. They talk about going into these places, and no doubt that you guys were missionaries. But looking back and making the comparison to like a missionary that would go maybe start an orphanage in another country, and maybe that's a bad parallel. But do you guys feel like there was a time you were over your head, when this was starting out?
Well, I'll start. I'll take that one. So I was an actual missionary. I actually was in the third world doing that type of work on staff with a church ministry. And so I was like an actual missionary. I've wanted to be a rock star since I was 7 years old. So I was never confused about the two. And then I got saved. That's what confused me. I remember when I got saved, I had a powerful supernatural salvation conversion experience that I've shared before, and probably in one of my books. By the way, no, I'm just kidding. And I told God, the whole God thing it was like a real thing. And I told God, man, I am yours, man. No strings attached, but don't F with my music. I told him that. And he's like, okay, he understood the conversation. He understood the relationship. I told him I would be a servant, but don't F with my music. And of course, as you progress in the relationship, and as you grow in the relationship in Messiah, through the power of the Holy Spirit with Father God, he that was the first thing he gave me a little bit of grace period, but that's what he's going to mess with. He has to sanctify it. And sometimes that means taking it from you. Did you ever read The Great Divorce, C.S. Lewis? That little demon that was on that guy's shoulder? Mm-hmm. Same exact freaking thing. But I was never confused about what I was doing as far as a Christian musician and my need to be a rock star. I knew I could balance both. I think, that's where Sonny comes in from POD. He's done a really good job of that. So I tip my hat to him, and we've had that conversation. U2 was told they couldn't be rock stars and Christians. They had to pick when war came out, right before war came out. That's where that whole Christian music ghetto concept comes from. You can be a rock star and serve God, but not many people can balance it or wield that. It's you got to remember, celebrity is the pride of life. It's the same thing that Lucifer said, I want to be the Most High. It's the same spirit. So it's a balancing act that I obviously didn't do very well at. And I don't regret the changes I made or the choices that I made to be here today. It hurt my music career, but I'm sound. I'm intact. And I think that's more important. When you die and you go before the judgment throne of God, he's not going to ask you how many records you sold. He's not going to ask you how many Academy Awards you have. Those aren't the questions he's going to ask, right? He's going to judge you based on something else. And that to me is what's more important. And that's what I've been focusing on for a long time.
Downloads. That's what you're going to be judged on.
Downloads,
not
so,
record sales.
Well, I fell at that as well then.
Your Spotify plays now.
I'm screwed all around. Tom, does that answer your question?
No, yeah. Very good.
I was not able to. Again, if you look at the lyrics to Jawbone of an Ass, you can't go out there. I can't be a charlatan. I'm not a poser. So I'm either going to have to course correct, or I'm going to have to change, or I'm going to have to change something drastically. Because I was working hard. I was pulling things off in the secular market that a lot of Christian bands weren't doing back then, and I was doing it. And so there's this crazy balance thing. But to be true to myself, and I buy into this God Jesus thing more than most people, and it's really important to me. And so I have to either course correct or get out. I have to do something. I can't say I'm this and then not do it. Does that make sense?
Of course, the Bible has higher standards for spiritual leaders. And I think a lot of people, and I'm not generalizing, but there were some people that stepped into that role without realizing, a
lot of people were thrust into that role. They were thrust into that role.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And with good intentions. Almost every concert that I ever went to, Christian metal or whatever, there was a powerful ministry that took place. And even if the singer or the guitarist or whoever wasn't this profound speaker, just this person standing up there playing metal music, and the audience member was able to identify with him, and they're like, oh, that guy just gave a word for Jesus or a testimony for Jesus. And I can identify with what Josh said. We used to use the music as ministry tools. I took to school my Bible, and then I took a tape with me. Right. And it was a Vengeance tape. It was a Deliverance tape. It was a Tourniquet tape. And the album artwork, or the T-shirt, was a tool. It was an open door. And I can't speak for everybody, but we were very focused. In my school, we used Christian music to witness to people very actively.
Yeah, it was a lot of it was outreach back then. I don't know if that's happening now. I haven't seen anything like.
Well, there's no more music. I mean, there's no more scene like there was.
Right. Well, we knew that Scattered Few was being used like that. We knew that you could play Scattered Few and trump everything around you, secular or Christian. We knew that. And we did that deliberately, because you have to remember how we started and why we started that band. And it was to literally provide a secular level quality experience musically that wasn't available. The only band out there that was saying anything positive about scriptures was the Bad Brains, and they were Rastafarians. So we needed to meet that, match that. That's why we worked so hard at being what we did. We wanted to provide you with a way, because you got to remember, right? I live in Hollywood. I'm being given another band's tape. I'm not even going to say who it is. I'm being given another band's tape by Christians all day long saying, oh, listen to this. This is Christian punk. And it's barely even Christian New Wave, right? We needed to provide some. Jimmy, don't laugh. We needed to provide something.
I already know who you're talking about.
I do
Right?
too.
Right? I mean, I'm not going to say anything. We needed to provide something that would actually meet that need. And Bad Brains was one of the highest, I mean, besides like SSD Control. I mean, there's a bunch of great bands, but who was actually bringing scripture into the lyrics? Bad Brains were the only ones. So that's we gotta meet it or beat it. So again, yeah, it was a tool. We knew that, and so we needed to be able. But when your life when you can't back it up with your life, that's a problem. You gotta fix that, and that's what I was having to deal with. And it's like, that's not an uncommon thing, right, Jimmy?
No, I
like
agree.
that.
It's not uncommon. No, I agree.
Something else, and you guys are aware of this, is the listeners, the fans out there, probably judged you guys according to your lyrics, okay, and assumed, wow, this guy's writing this, this profound lyric. He must live a perfect life. You guys obviously, you were put up on a pedestal, not only for the musicianship, but also for, being a spiritual leader.
My problem was I was the band. I was an everyman. I was the band for the people. So I wore my heart on a sleeve. I wasn't afraid. I wasn't intimidated by the system. They could go screw themselves. And I obviously made that very clear. This is who I am. This is who the real me is. And I did everything I wasn't supposed to do. I said everything I wasn't supposed to say. I didn't play the game for labels, for radio stations, none of them. One Bad Pig, maybe? No.
No.
I didn't play that game. And the reason we helped change people's lives because of that. Because we were legit. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
What was the question again?
Was there a question?
being put on a pedestal. The lyric that always comes to mind about being put on a pedestal is Terry Taylor's beautiful lyric from "Here I Am," and it says, you want an autograph.
Disc.
What is your need? Mine is for you to know that I really bleed. I just love that lyric because that was not how we felt, Alan.
Yeah.
What is your need? Mine is for you to know I really bleed.
Yeah.
We were just human.
Horrendous Disc comes in too. You're on display.
Oh, what a great!
Right?
Did you like the Deliverance cover of Horrendous Disc?
I did. Shut up.
So see, you do like metal.
No, I don't. What the hell are you talking about?
Alan's gonna quietly leave tonight and go listen to Hell with the Devil. You know that, right?
Wow. I'm gonna go online tonight and splurge on all the Striper catalog. Yeah, no. It's true.
It's okay, because I'll never forget when Manny showed up for his first rehearsal or his audition to play with Deliverance. I said, "Do you know any Striper?" And he kind of got this nervous look on his face, and he said, "No." And I said, "Okay, well, do you know any Black Sabbath?" And he looks and he's like, he kind of looked at me like, "Are you guys trying to trap me?" Because me and Chris were really into it, And he's like, "Yeah." And I go, "Okay, cool." And I ripped into Mob Rules, and then man, he just went right in, and it was great. And so you're not the only one who disliked Striper, Alan. Even the metalheads didn't all like Stryper. I don't think Manny can name one Stryper song.
I can't even name one. but you know, isn't
Soldiers Under
Stryper,
Command. There we go.
isn't
That one.
Stryper
Okay.
isn't Stryper the Christian band that's signed to Enigma Records?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. See, I know who they are. I remember that. I remember Enigma Records. They were an LA label. I remember that.
Yeah. They were. And they wore yellow and black.
Oh, jeez.
That was their shtick. That was their shtick.
Yellow and black attack.
Right.
Yeah.
They're like little bumblebees. Yeah, the Babylon bee right there, all over the place. Told you, man. It's a freaking mockumentary. And okay, can I ask Andre a question? Andre, what do you do? Why are you here? Who are you?
I am Doug's best friend.
Oh, jeez, I'm out.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
First of all, let me apologize and say I'm truly sorry that that's the case. But.
Oh, thanks, Jimmy.
Yeah, I'm just an average. I'm a truck driver. Doug and I, we go back to, I was 16. He was
89.
89.
Oh wow, that's awesome. Andre, do you drive a semi?
Yes.
My dad was 48 years Teamster.
Wow.
Line driver.
Yeah, I just did a career change. I was in aviation. I was an aviation tech for about, 25 years. And
nice.
And
That's
just made
nice.
My eyes.
And I just did a career change. COVID hit. I lost my job, and I had some injuries when I was in the military, and I qualified for vocational rehab, and I was like, I want to be a truck driver.
Nice.
So,
sweet.
So Doug and I, we go back. Music brought us together. Metal brought us together. That's how we met.
Yep.
That's such a weird conversation.
I just got to say, before we end tonight, I really want to say, in all seriousness, Jimmy Brown and his wife Helen were two major players in having me keep my faith. Jimmy and Helen talk to me nightly. What the heck are we watching?
Oh my gosh, I know what that is.
What
the hell
little
is wrong
episode of
with
Wife
you?
Swap.
What the
is
hell?
on Wife Swap.
No.
You're so weird, dude. You're so weird.
So, Jimmy and Helen, I'll get through this.
This is the best.
Alan from getting into a fight with some lady.
Yeah.
But, I was going through a divorce, and Jimmy and Helen talk and walked me through it almost every night for hours. While Jimmy was working on, what was it, Above, So Below? Or So Below?
As Above, So Below. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And then we, then me and Jimmy decided to work together on a 12th Tribe record that I never got.
Tom, you're not alone.
Yeah, that's not my
more
fault.
Jimmy merch that's not getting out there.
Hey, I mixed it. I gave it to David. That was
It's
it.
It's the management's fault. Oh, man. Chris, do you have something that you ordered from Jimmy that you never got?
I think there was like three
my God,
vinyl. The new vinyl.
You're such an ass.
Actually, you owe me, Alan, a few of those. Remember, I told you when
I don't owe you nothing.
When that vinyl gets pressed up, you told me I get 3 of them.
I don't know what the hell. What vinyl are you talking about?
I can't talk to you about it, but yeah, we can't talk about it on the air.
Oh. See, he's making crap up. Oh, for the record, that wife swap thing's like 18 years old. Somebody's whole life ago.
Yeah, I know you look very young.
Shut up.
Actually, I was about to say you look better now, though.
Wow.
I like your hairdo. I like your hairdo. It looks very Bowie-esque, which is really cool. Tin Machine era, Love that era.
Well, Allan smells much better. He stopped smoking since then. So
Yeah. Now I smell like patchouli oil. Apparently.
Hey. There's nothing wrong with smokers.
Ooh.
Oh no.
Oh, hey, Jimmy.
It's Monday.
Do you hear that?
It's Monday.
That's right.
What song? What song?
The greasy pipe.
So far, so good. No one saw you.
Hover over any freeway.
You will be like your dreams tonight. Oh my God. We just
Okay, so
I really lost him.
there was a rumor that you guys used to do a show together, and the synergy
Yeah,
between
the
the two of
ABC.
you reveals that you should still be doing a show together.
I agree. The ABC. It just, but we
Get it?
could go AB. We could go AB, Alan. But
Oh my gosh.
why don't we go ABD and bring Doug in, and we'll just bash him like once every couple weeks.
Oh my gosh.
Here we go. Welcome to the Christian music industry, folks.
It's all out of love.
Oh,
my
sure
God.
it is.
I kick your ass in Jesus' name. Sorry, Chris.
So
What do we expect? What do we expect from you, Alan?
You know,
Yeah.
I was expecting more cussing tonight.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
honestly,
it was better, but you know.
I mean, I literally called Chris and said, "Hey, maybe we should have somebody with a beep button that we can censor Alan," because I remember an F-bomb being dropped at Take on the World the one year.
Oh, you religious spirit people.
I'm so offended by that.
Well, if we're wrapping up the show, I'd love for everybody, Tom, Alan, Manny, Jimmy, if you guys would like to maybe plug what your ministries are doing, what your music is doing, where people can find you, that kind of stuff. And the chat's been great, except for the one troll that kept coming in. So thanks so much to the mods. But
that was George Ochoa.
Wow.
that is not going to be a future guest on this show, I guess. So thank you.
Well, he's an anti-Semite, so that's not going to work. Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
I can't go to that Immortal Fest now because they're going to be there.
Yeah, I thought you had a job anyway.
I do. I'd rather be making money.
Yeah, there you go.
I write. I have no new music. I write books. PlanetBlueMedia.com.
Until next year.
And
But
I've got a
recording
new studio. I've got a studio waiting. There's 3 projects I want to do. I'm going to do an instrumental worship thing that I'm calling. I have it written down somewhere. It's going to be pretty awesome. It's going to be definitely think low. Anyway, I'm going to do an instrumental worship album, and then I'm going to do a Spyglass Blue release, and then a new Ministries Walking. That's my goal, and that's been my goal for like 3 or 4 years or so.
It's going to happen.
I'm busy with my writing. I'm busy with my live streaming. chameleonchurch.com/live. If you want to see more of me on a weekly basis, ladies.
Oh man,
I can't even do that with a straight face. Oh my gosh. Oh, look at Chris is smiling. Tom's not approving. Tom's not approving of any of this. I'm gonna cut you guys all off. So anyway.
I am gonna force you to make those records. If anything, the Spyglass Blue, because I want to be a part of it, and I want you and me to do a record together. We've been slated to do an album together for a long time.
We've been talking about it since Should we tell people we've been talking about doing something together since 1992? What the hell is wrong with us?
Yeah,
People have been
I know.
married and have birthed children and divorced and died since then. I mean,
It's
it's a long
true.
time.
It's too long, and it's
So,
time to
dude,
make good on it. I just
Jimmy.
got to get out of my room. That's what it is.
Right? I need to get out of the
I'm trying to
house.
work on that.
So Jimmy, like a couple weeks ago, I saw X and Psychedelic Furs a couple weeks ago, and I'm watching
no
X
kidding.
and I
How was
realized
it?
what?
How was it?
It
Did
was
the
good.
furs do good?
So, yeah, it was good. So I'm watching X and I looked at my wife and I go, "Holy crap! I haven't like literally been in the same room with John Doe since like 19 whatever. It's like been like 35 years, and we're
Yeah,
all
a long
still
time.
alive." Oh man,
That's pretty cool, actually, when you think about it.
Yeah, right?
That's
So,
awesome. I heard that tour was happening.
I watched it. Yeah. Psychedelic Furs, I've seen them 2 or 3 times now, but it was fun. Dude, Echo and the Bunnymen, like in a couple weeks.
Oh, I'm so stoked. I cannot wait. Where are they playing?
They're playing. I'm here in freaking Salt Lake.
No, man. That
I'm
I would
gonna
love to
go see him.
They're not
Oh,
going
and I'm
to
gonna go
be
see
anywhere
John Doe.
near here.
I'm going to go see John Doe in a week or two in a tiny little club here in Park City. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. So you and I need to get together.
We need to get together and do something. But
we need to start off with the Tommies.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
And look, I'll be right back. You guys say
Tommies are too. Okay,
Jimmy,
I'm going to say my piece.
Jimmy, go plug
I'll
yourself.
say
I
my
gotta go
piece.
piss.
I go plug myself. I love that. jpbii.com. That's all I'm going to say. And also, you can find us on patreon.com as well as Allan. I'll plug Allan too because I'm one of his patrons. And we have our Patreon and jpbii.com, which is getting a revamp, but you can hear us and hear some of the music there. I'm also on YouTube. Manny's on Facebook. I have a Facebook, but I'm rarely on, rarely if ever. And but that'll have to change one day. And I'm really, really fighting getting a TikTok, and I'm still against it, but it might have to happen. I don't know, but nonetheless, that's it. That's where you could listen to us. And Manny and myself just finished the Camelot and Smithereens redo 2021, Camelot 21, and it was released earlier this year, and it was a redo of the Camelot and Smithereens album released in '95, and we completely re-recorded it as it was supposed to be recorded, and it sounds fantastic. We're really excited about it, and then we're working on a new album. As a matter of fact, right now it's preliminary, but I'm been writing and sending to Manny, and we're doing our back and forths on this called 11. So we'll see how that goes. And that's under Jimmy P. Brown II and Eraserhead. So that's officially my solo band. So
and
then
that's what I'm in. I'm in the band, so. Yep, that's basically how you're gonna get in contact with us. Cool. So that's what I'm doing. Just jamming.
I plugged your Patreon, by the way, Allan. Just to let you know.
Oh, thank you.
So, Tom, what are you doing next?
Well, hey, Doug, I'm glad you asked. Actually, next week we've been on a little break, but we're going back live 6 days a week at 11 Eastern. Throughtheblack.com is where you can find a link to the new YouTube channel because we got kicked off of YouTube last summer. So we decided to give it another try. But hey, since this is a music show, I will mention that we're going to be doing a specific music show on Friday nights called Audiotopsy, where we're going to just basically examine music. It's going to be presuppositional analysis. We're going to look at everybody from one of the songs is Ozzy Osbourne. The song I picked out was Hank Williams, and just everything in between. And we're going to be examining lyrics, music, all that stuff. So Vicky Joy is my co-host. Anyway, throughtheblack.com.
Awesome.
Nice.
Josh?
Throughtheblack.com. I'm actually going to save that right now.
Josh, are you still doing Cast of Dragons?
Yes. And then right now I'm in the process of re-releasing LSU. This is the Healing on vinyl, and you can order a pre-release of that.
Oh,
at
sweet.
Go to Young Earth Records Bandcamp.
Cool.
So in the process of doing that, and I did Waking Up the Dead a while ago and sold out of those. So hopefully this one will do the same.
That was before I knew you and didn't have a chance to order that.
I might have a couple of those kicking around, so I'll let you know. And I know Matt Hunt, who does Boone's Overstock, he's got some too. So
cool. Andre,
is this it? Is this it, Tom? The real dark news?
Yes. Yep, that's us.
Oh, okay. Just want to make sure before I bookmark it. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead, Andre.
Yeah, I'm driving tomorrow. I think I'm going down to Atlanta. So I'm be on the road for at least 3 days. So
Awesome.
Joy.
Chris, what's up with
I like Atlanta.
Take on the World?
Great question. So Take on the World, we are actually doing a virtual conference coming up in November. So normally those of you guys who are new, normally we do a live annual event. And this year we've opted to go virtual this year. So right here, Take on the World TV, we're going to be doing a virtual conference, a 3-day event where we're going to be equipping. There's going to be some discovery on some topics. And then there's also going to be a discussion, which / debate style things to edify the body and to show how those of us with different opinions and different theologies and different things, how we can discuss and not divide over. So it's actually going to be quite diverse in the conference this year.
This is not you, right?
That is not us. No, that is that's Nickelodeon. So Take on the World or TOTW conference. You can find us there. But TOTWconference.com is the website. And then right here, Take on the World TV on YouTube is where you guys can find us. Allan is always a featured speaker at the conference. And we've got.
Oh, he is? Oh, forget it. I ain't saying
I know. Allan always.
Is it?
That's us. That is
that's okay.
Yes, that
Jim.
Well, you haven't invited me to speak, so I don't know why.
He's going to end up barking here in a second.
I'm a much better speaker than Allan.
I would believe that, and I will have to say this: Johnny's not here. So typically, our sponsor for Sound Off the Show is brought to you by BornAgainSound.com for all your used new Christian CDs, vinyl, and cassettes. BornAgainSound.com. That is our
good plug. I love that.
Yeah. So
that was
again,
sweet.
You like the ticker?
Yeah, there we go. So
I love it. I love it.
Hey, I just remembered some clickbait I want to add. I did an interview with some witches. So if you want to watch that next week, we're going to be premiering it on the show. So lots of fun at the Cleveland Pagan Pride Fest the other day. So
those Wiccans.
And fun fact about Tom
I love
Dunn.
them.
Here's a fun fact about Tom Dunn. He is still probably banned from entering into the United Kingdom. Is that still correct, Tom?
Well,
really?
I don't know if I'm banned, but there's no way I'm going to go there because I know I'll get arrested. So,
for that documentary stuff you were doing.
Well, for the exposure of the crazy story over there. That's a long story, but yeah.
What's the title again?
Well,
there's
the
a
film
secret
is called Detestable, but the Hampstead case is the case that we were working on exposing over there.
Yeah,
with the children, Elisa and Gabriel. So,
yeah, Jimmy, he's got some. Go check out Tom's stuff.
And Tom is also a speaker at Take on the World since day one. He's my day one. Allan's not. Tom is my day one guy. So
And I keep getting
Well, no,
asked back,
that's why I'm
which is
saving. That's why
weird.
I'm saving. That's why I'm saving all your, the stuff because like Allan said when I came on, I was like, I'm like this, just poking my head out, out of the mole hole and going, oh, hello. So I'm just wanting to get in.
So booking a Deliverance show and a speaking session, that is 2023. We're scouting a new place. So there's a lot of interest for, as Doug keeps telling me, let's get some of these guys together, do something on that level. So of course Scatterfew with Allan said no.
Allan already just said that he would do a reunion show in 2023 if Deliverance will do a reunion show in 2023.
Wow.
Did you hear that?
In Ohio. It all has to happen in Ohio, though, Jimmy.
Yeah.
It might be New York.
Well, Deliverance is, we're slated to go to Europe next year, but
whatever.
But I'm not. I mean, we haven't been there since 2019. So, but I said I'm kind of done with Deliverance as far as here in the States. But the Eraserhead thing, yes, for sure, it's happening. So, Jimmy would like Tom's docs. What docs do you have?
I'll send them out. I'll send them out to you. I made a couple films. They're the best way to describe it is maybe off of your second album, Weapons of Our Warfare, This Present Darkness. It's kind of like the story to that.
Nice.
Occult type activity, exposing that, people that are survivors, that sort of thing. So.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to start exploring. That'll be fun, man. Got you guys locked in.
And this is where Tom, you get these guys to come on Through the Black on the new YouTube channel. I think that would be an excellent interview. And so for everybody,
do I have to have Allan? I want Jimmy, but
it's just Jimmy and Manny, and
I wasn't supposed to say that out loud.
Okay. I'm right here. I've
already had Allan on.
Hey, you know what, Tom? Tom, I thought you were my friend, but now forget it, man. You're cut off.
Well, it's been a pleasure and been a lot of fun. I hope that we can all do this again.
No, you don't.
This would be fantastic. Actually, no. I've had a blast.
I have text messages from you that say otherwise.
What, that I want to eat at Tommy's?
Well, before I go, I want to thank Chris and Doug for bringing us together because Jimmy, it's been way too long, and we should do
the AB show.
You don't call me no more.
I know. I disappeared, and I'll explain my whole story to you.
I don't
why
want
I
to know.
disappeared.
I don't want to know your whole story.
Yes, you do.
No,
you do want to know it.
No, I don't.
You're going to hear it anyway, so I don't care.
Only if there's a big, fat, honking double chili cheeseburger between us.
Oh, man, we so need that. That's what we need.
Dude, you're like minutes away from one. I'm like 6 hours away.
I'm talking about together. I enjoy going there with you. It's fun. Because nobody, believe it or not, nobody in my family likes Tommy's. So,
well,
I mean, no, they're all In-N-Out fans, but they don't like Tommy's.
I've got In-N-Out here all day long.
Yeah, but I love Tommy's.
All right, hey, I'm gonna go. I'm leaving.
Yes,
I'm blowing this popsicle stand. Chris, Doug, thank you. Josh, we miss you over at my stuff over there. Tom, you were my friend until about 5 minutes ago.
Sorry about that. We can make
up. It's cool, dude. It's cool, bro.
I'll make it up to you.
Manny, have we met before?
We have not.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Actually, you have.
I'm not sure how you got here, but
have we?
You guys have several times actually during our Learn tour, but you guys just don't remember.
Okay.
I'm just fascinated by Andre. and his being here. And I'm not quite sure how that works out.
I'm glad Andre. I'm actually glad Andre was here. So it's cool.
Oh, dude.
And
I
all
have
of you
horrible thoughts
just
running
get
through my mind, but I'm not going to say anything.
And all of you, go ahead and if you need my email or any info, just
look at
get
this.
me through Doug. Get me through Doug. Doug has all my info. He has my phone number. He has my so whatever you guys need. Alan, you've had my stuff, so shut up.
So here's Jimmy's personal phone number.
Oh,
yeah, that's
I'm
all
just
right.
kidding.
Go ahead.
No, I would never do that to you.
I love it. All right, I'm going to refill my water bottle and go pee.
All right, guys.
All right. Thanks so much, everybody.
I already
Thank you so
peed.
much.
Thanks,
I already
Chris.
peed. Thank you.
All right. Thanks
All
for
right.
being
Love
here.
you guys. It was nice to be here.
Thanks.
All right, good night.
Don't
Peace
listen
out.
to him.
Look, everybody.
He's in a metal band. Don't believe him.
See you guys.
Bye now.
Sound off.